welcome. I am Armando Trejo. I work for the library. Elizabeth Hultman works for the libraries, and sometimes she's my interpreter. Because people doesn't understand my British accent.
Hi everybody, so like Armando said, I'm Hultman, and I'm one of the librarians. And you probably don't know me because I work nights, so I don't get to see a lot of you. But we are here today to talk about archives. And I just want to know, I want a hand of who knows that we have archives here. Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so in my mind, when I think of archives, I think of kind of boring, dusty documents, and maybe an old guy in a room sitting through old guy. So does anyone else have that same feeling when they hear that word archives? Be honest. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty boring. And actually, some of it is boring. Some of it is not far from reality. But just a snapshot of what archives does. It takes all the material, all the historical things of ECC and Armando, and I sometimes help. We take those things, whether they're objects, physical objects, whether they're yearbooks, whether they're papers, stories, which we'll get to, and he's got to put those into some sort of system. So he collects those things, labels them, puts them into a database, and then makes them accessible so that everybody can use them. Okay, but we don't want to talk about that boring snapshot picture I just gave you. We want to talk about sort of the human side of archives, and that's what we're going to do today, is kind of give you a picture of why it matters.
Raise your hand if you know who is he. Okay, that's Harry Lisa. Larry, what are we calling him? Basically, we have two collections. We have the digital collection that it is held by the Illinois Digital Archive, that is part of the State Library. And also we have the collection that I have in the office room C208, that's the hard copy, the Realia collection. We have shovels, hammers, all gold minutes. I'm going to give an example of the things that we do at the archives. Alex, please. So there are the yearbooks. In that time, we used to have a yearbooks. You know, there were 80 students, 65, something like that. Now, can you imagine you want to have a yearbook? That would be almost impossible. Can you run the 1963?
I just want to interject here. So you're going to see that all of these pages have been uploaded. So there had to be a person that went in and scanned everything, labeled everything, and made that available online.
And I'm going to talk about that picture in a minute. That's the staff page, table of contents. Do you know whiskey? Rainier. So that's the advisors. Associate students. Men's club. You know, that's kind of the sound of talking about language. Thanks, Alex. Can we go back to the PowerPoint?
So you might be wondering who uses our collections, and really our biggest customer are ECC students, ECC alumni, and faculty. And as an example of that, I want to just highlight a story that came to us about who are the users. This story is written by Lois Castillo. It's about Lois Castillo. She was a student back in 1978. And she had written the library looking for a story she had written way back when that had been published in the Spire Literary magazine. And it was really important to her to get this story because she was terminally ill and she wanted to share this story with her daughter, who at the time was 3 years old. So it was really important to her. It's a touching, fun story. So I'm not going to read it. You can see how short the story actually is, but I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to sort of recap it. It's called The Old Man, and it basically talks about Lois's relationship with the old man, and like any relationship, they have their ups and downs. He drives her crazy sometimes. He's got this gorgeous long white hair that he's kind of vain, and she has the soft spot in her heart for him because he was born deaf, and despite this disability, he's just had a great life and he has a love for life. So not only does she feel this way about the old man, but her daughter also has a relationship with the old man, her daughter named Jessica. And they play together sometimes. And so at the end,
And they share the bed.
and then, long story short, so with that background information, she goes to pick up her daughter from the babysitter's house. When I came to pick up my girl, Wanda, the babysitter, was just bubbling with curiosity. It seems that Jessica had been telling Wanda about the old man. Wanda told me she had heard all about his white hair and how he sleeps in my bed with me. I could see she was enjoying this juicy bit of information she had gotten from my daughter. I let her tease me, knowing it could not last. I would soon have to drop reality right on her. That's true, Wanda, I said, but didn't Jessica tell you that the old man is our cat? So, cute story that she was able to recover because of archives, and Dr. Salm loved it so much, too, that he actually wrote her a personal letter saying that it's it's such a great story, that it's so timeless, and he wishes more students would write pieces that could stand the test of time.
That picture, I was asked for an image permission request for publication. So I have a request for a researcher from Berkeley, California, the University of California at Berkeley, and they want that picture. It was going to be published in the book called Freight, Art and Textile Politics, 1970s, 1990s. And it was going to be written by Julia Bryan Wilson. There were going to be 1,200 copies, and it was going to publish in Amazon, Google, etc., etc. Unfortunately, we were not able to provide the rights of that picture because there's a great song in the archives that we don't know who are the owners. Now I know. Now I think that we are saving, we can publish that picture. Okay? Researchers use or collection. That picture, remember that I was going to talk about? Well, that picture was requested by a bank, Associated Bank. So we checked with the legal department and they said, yes, that's fine. So we were going to provide it with they were going to use it for a brochure. We were going to provide it, but with the watermark. They didn't want that. They want to own the photo and the rights. Of course, we cannot sell that because we don't own it. That's the community, that's the college who owns that picture. Another story. We got an email, the foundation got an email that goes like this. One of my professors spent a time with me and told me a great deal. At what time I thought I would never forget. So she didn't know what class she took. She didn't know who was the teacher. So in collaboration with the math department, they gave us this information. Based on that, I checked the directories and our digital collection, and I came up with those names. Did you know those guys? No? Yeah. So then I found a photo of Ed, there you are, and Don Hultman. But none of them was the one that she was looking for. So fortunately, while she was browsing our digital collection, she found him. So that was a Lavon Cross Lamb. And that's the story. This student, after 15 years, came back to the college, and he developed a good relationship with this teacher. The teacher was used to work at the library, so they really create a bond, and they help her a lot. And she told, in one of those conversations, she told him, you know what, I want to provide, she was a single mother with 4 children, and she said, I want to provide good life for my kids, so I want to major in psychology. And you know what he said? No, are you kidding me? No, you cannot do it with psychology, no, you're not going to have enough money for that. And he suggests, what about you go to computer science? Well, I'm struggling with math. She followed the advice. She went to Northern. She graduated for the computer science. She started traveling all around the country. She was that later on she had a group of programmers, and she was the one that started creating programs in which the hospitals start talking to each other. And there's the quote from these former students. There was no one prouder on graduation day than when I looked up and there I saw my 4 kids up there cheering me on. I graduated 20 years after high school. I put it on bold and blue. We touch someone. We make some changes. And finally, because I'm running out of time, we have a couple of former deans that they are so helpful. They spend hours and hours in the archives doing research. We just have like night interviews. We are interviewing the ECC founders, like Lisa, like all those guys who were rescuing the history of ECC. Thank you very much.
Where are you located in the library?
Second floor, room C208.
Thank you. In my excitement about truck driving program and everything, I forgot a 2-minute or less video that I wanted to show you. So please play the video.